game niche powerhouse. You might want to go back to one of those for this pivotal game 3.
Well, whatever's about to happen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure it's going to be a crazy Game 3 to close out this series. But first, we've got to go back to the panel to break down a 90-minute game. Good luck.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's going to be a pleasure breaking this one down, or at least attempting to, as we do have Game 1, 70 minutes, Game 2, 90 minutes. I hope everybody's ready for a Game 3, 2 hours. Sounds about right?
I mean, I'll be fine. I'm just hoping the players will be, because these games must be exhausting to play. Like, so much pressure, and in such a high-pressure environment, right? I'm thinking of Liquid, like their tournament life on the line for 90 minutes, and they hold tight. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, in an hour and a half long game, like, you need to keep your focus and find a way, because these teams, they have been in multiple of these situations, but every game is kind of different. Like, with all these changes in Dota, with the neutral items, with the changes to tier 5 neutral items, how they work with the enchantments and everything, trying to find a way how to potentially close out the game as well. And you can see them trying, like with the Helm of the Overlords, Necro Books, all these shenanigans, bots to try to go for some kind of a play on the other side, but it just didn't pay off. And every single time we see mega creeps, it's just got like there's almost no coming back from megas.
Now, there's one thing I want to touch upon first. Did Tofu change your mind on the Mirana? Because he did make it look good. You gotta agree with that.
Towards the later stage of the game, yes, like Moonlight Shadow, you know, triple arrow, like Aghanims, like all the damage, like it is very. At the beginning, I'm still not sure. I have to say that
At the beginning of this game, which was like first 40 minutes, or beginning in general?
I mean, I don't know. The lane was pretty tough. Centaur was having the freest time of his life, and I think it's related to the Mirana. I don't know. Like, yes, okay, he slightly changed my mind, but I'm okay with them not picking it again. Let's put it this way.
That's fair enough. All right, so where do we want to start with breaking this down? Because it was a crazy game. I think one of the key points that we saw from Team Liquid, we heard SPG say it already, Nisha had a really tough time on his Necrophos, only 5 Reaper stacks.
If you look at the score, it doesn't seem like he had that bad of a time. 2 deaths in 90-minute game. Like, you're basically dying every 45 minutes, which is still sounds pretty good, yeah, when you think about it this way. But also, yeah, playing against Sanking, getting zoned out, playing against the double nullifier. Ame did pick up one. XXS did pick up, let's call it early nullifier on a Centaur in this one, and also playing against the bots, which was one of the biggest issues, knowing that he can't really go and kill off the guy. How many times we've seen like the card save, the box save, the stampede with the box just running out of the fight multiple times. I like the adjustments that we've seen from Extreme Gaming, though. I do like the 1-2 punch that they've been pulling with their mid laner, playing around him and making like multiple moves at the same time, understanding the timings early on, playing with an early Deso, playing with this Centaur pipe. And I don't know how you feel about it, Seb, but I do feel that this meta right now is slightly evolving, getting the Guardian Greens on your position 4, maybe even 5, and then picking up an early pipe from the offlane.
Yeah, I mean, these teams, like, I think, like, when they're on and the players are really stepping up is the feeling I'm getting. Like, yeah, I'm thinking of NTS, you know, you mentioned the Ringmaster. I think X-Nova was super on point with the spellcasting this game. And I don't think we've seen quite that level of play in the group stage from that team. Like, they're rising up to the challenge, so you love to see it. Obviously, same can be said about Liquid. So when these players are, like, on, I think they can shape the meta. Like, one series can really start shaping the meta for the tournament. So that is, obviously, now these games are very long. I think other teams don't physically have the time to watch the replay. That's like one advantage too. Like, can't get studied if you play 3 hours games, you know. It's like, we literally don't have time. We need to play too. But no, on a more serious note, yeah, I like the itemization. I like the adjustments. I think both teams are picking up steam at the same time, unfortunately, for each other in a sense, because only one will advance, right?
Only one will advance. The question is who adapts better. In the series, but within both games that we've watched so far, both teams had many times to come out on top. And I do want to again focus a little bit on Ace because I think both the Centaur in game 1 and now the Darkseer, Lacoste, we saw some great moments coming out from him with some vacuums that were incredibly on point.
Yeah, didn't really have like the big wombo combo like Extreme Gaming did in game number 1, but he did pull in quite a lot of weight in the previous game with the really nice vacuum walls, with the itemization like lower cooldown, upgrading his blink to Arcane Blink, making sure that he can, get the value out of the punch on lower cooldown. It feels like Ace, some of the issues that we've said, not him in general, but just maybe the offlane issue that didn't really work out in the group stage for Team Liquid. They definitely shaped it up, and they feel like they're on another level right now.
Yeah, 100%. I think like the adjustments that we were hoping for from both teams, they came in. Like it's not happening, and we get to see these teams like play the game. I think, yeah, of course, they're exchanging punches at the beginning of the game, and one team gets ahead and one not. But it doesn't feel like one team doesn't get to enter the game, and we get. To see the strat, the lineup come together. It's super cool to see. Like this thanking, we haven't seen it before. I think it was super good this game. Like it did a lot of work in NTS's hand. Now the ban from Liquid in the first game started.
It makes sense.
It makes sense now. I get it.
The question is, why does it take so long for both of these games to close out a game, or for both of these teams to close out a game? Because it was so back and forth. So obviously, for both teams, things are going wrong as well.
Single a limb. Like you know that with just one bad move, especially for Liquid with the situations they were in the second game, is they don't want to rush anything. They have Alchemist, so they can give out as many Ags as possible. They can get the Moon Shards. They can buy a lot of stuff like infinite gems, keep stacking them in the base because they have the infinite influx of the gold that Alchemist is getting. And at one point, they were ahead for like almost 75,000 gold, and it's almost impossible not to win the game with that gold lead.
But we did also saw the gold lead go back down to at least 50, and
it's just a 25. 5K gold swing, nothing serious.
Yeah, that's
manageable.
Potatoes. I also want to focus on Xnova. I think he played fantastic ringmaster. Of course, not on the winning side at the end of the game, but he also was playing his heart out.
Yeah, he's been rather quiet. I feel in the group stage for Extreme. Like, not that he had a poor performance or anything like that, but this. This is a guy that can really, step up, and I think in this game he really did. Like we got to see like his spellcasting was really on point. Early game presence, all of it. So looking forward to see what he can bring. Like he has certain heroes. That are very suited for these kind of high intensity games that go the long way. I'm thinking of his Phoenix, for instance, or amongst others. So excited to see. Like you love to see when every player steps up for these kinds of occasions. I think that's what both these teams really needed it. So now it's going to come down to the draft, most likely in game 3. Like it's going to be very, very important. I think both teams are probably feeling confident, and they now both know that they can take the series away. So in that sense, we're going to get a great game 3. I think there's no doubt about that.
So we heard, I think Cap said that this next game is either going to be 15 more like 2 hours, late game.
Yeah, I don't know if Extreme Gaming can close out the game in 15 minutes. They can call GG in 20 minutes, as we've seen against BB Team earlier in the group stage. But I think I'm getting more and more confidence in this team, and I would even give them the slight edge because they were like slightly more creative than Liquid in this one, I would say, especially with the picks that they did have, and also with some of the execution in the early game. Like, I feel like this is not the team that we've seen in the group stage. This is not your Extreme Gaming that, if you look at who they played against, like they dropped the game against Rune Eaters, they beat Gamer Legion, but these games are also like very, very close. So I feel like they really stepped it up, and they are on another level at the moment.
Yeah, a lot of focus for that other level feels like it's in the mid lane with Nothing to Say also stepping it up, played a fantastic Sand King game. Also makes me think that we already know that Extreme Gaming, they focus heavily on trying to slow down Nisha's game, especially in that first game they played. Surely Liquid's going to return the favor also. You got to slow down Nothing to Say a bit.
Yeah, and I mean, you say that, but he actually played like a pretty tough matchup. So that was him like playing from behind a little bit, like being on the defensive, because Sanking versus Necro is a really tough matchup for Sanking. And thankfully he had some stacks and he was able to come back, but it kind of leaves you wondering like what happens if he's playing the better matchup, and if he's like he gets the tools to impact the game like early on, because that was like there was very little room for mistake I think in this game, like for him, because up until the point anyway, they had this blink epi and that was really their only way back into certain sequences or team fights, and I think he utilized it perfectly. So I'm looking forward to see what he can achieve in the next game. Like, he has a very wide hero pool. We've seen him play heroes that other mid laners aren't really looking at. Like Sanking is an example, he's famously known for his Pangolier, he's tried Lina, obviously he plays all the spirits. So he could bring a lot to the table in Game 3.
Yeah, he really could. And I feel like we barely scratched the surface of the game we just watched during 90 minutes. What can you do? We're, of course, getting nearer to game number 3, getting started. But before we get started, there's something we haven't talked that much about in this post-game, which was the carry rule. But that's okay, because we're going to listen to a carry right now. This was a couple of hours ago before the series. We're going to listen to Mickey.
Play is in our DNA. Whenever we let it out, it becomes our superpower. Now imagine an entire city being built to supercharge it. Kadir City, powered by Play.
Hey, I'm here with Mickey of Team Liquid. You guys are in the survival stage of the tournament now, which means you lose, you're out. Are you guys feeling the pressure?
No, not really. I think we're fairly confident. We had a team talk before, so hopefully things go as we talked. So.
Do you guys ever feel a lot of pressure as a team? Like, do you play worse or better in these kinds of moments?
I think usually we like the pressure. I think people like when the games like matter more instead of like the studio games, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we enjoy when the stakes are high.
And I feel like historically you guys do kind of okay in group stage, and then the later stuff is really where you pull off some crazy streaks, right? So like you've warmed up now, right?
I mean, we'll see what happens. We're not sure if we're like 100% peak performance yet, but I think we're working to get there.
Okay, that's a good place to be. What's your pre-match routine like on game days? I'm curious about this because nobody knows what it's like to be a pro player except for like 150 you guys. So like, do you have like a playlist? I've seen Quinn at tournaments. He's like headphones on, stares at the ground, doesn't talk to anybody. What do you like?
I'm more a chill guy. I like to go eat with my team and just sit and chill before the game. Play maybe some overthrow to warm up some mechanics.
How much of that conversation is like about Dota?
Not much. I think we like to take a chill before the game, and we just
lower the stress.
If there is some draft questions that my captain wants me to answer, and I'll just give him that. But
make sure you're on the right page.
Usually I'm the chill guy, and the drafters are working, so I'm just vibing.
You're just there to sit down and play your game. Yeah, that makes sense. Do you guys think you're gonna have XG's number this morning? Because they're a very good team. It's like kind of you're the top seed of this elimination thing. They're the bottom seed, but what do you think about them?
I think it will be a tough matchup. Historically, we have done well against them, but I think in this tournament it's going to be a bit different because it's a new patch or like different patch. So it'll be a fun matchup, and we both play to our potentials.
All right, well, we'll see how it goes. Thanks for joining me for the interview, and good luck in your match.
Thank you.
Winners of the International, Team Liquid are about to face off against TI finalists Extreme Gaming. And you'd be forgiven to think that this is Clash of the Giants, but Avery, both of these teams have been kind of relegated to the midfield recently.
Who's responsible for that?
Some would say Zhao 8. Some would say perhaps for Liquid the loss of KP. Perhaps the changing of both rosters have left them weaker.
I know I was talking to both these teams yesterday. That's some very interesting things to say. Morale was a bit mixed. I'd say they were in the middle of the pack. Wasn't super high, wasn't super low. There's definitely some teams that are struggling a lot more. I asked Liquid, are they going to make one of those runs? You know, I asked Blitz.
Yeah.
Because if they get over that one little hump, they just fly through the bracket. He was optimistic. Now, he has shattered his ankle in a freak stairway accident, as we all know. I don't know how much that hurts their odds, but he was still optimistic about their chances. XG, on the other hand, I asked Ame, why did he dye his hair blue? Do you know?
I do not. To be like Kez?
I said, which hair would you want to win TI with?
Yeah.
He said Terrorblade. So I said, did you dye your hair to be like the Terrorblade Arcana gem? He said, no.
No.
I dyed it for my boy Somnus.
Really?
Because Somnus's blue hair brought them luck. And so now he's going to dye his hair to bring you luck.
Okay.
Perhaps it will bring him luck against the Blue Horse today.
Oh, that's actually a good point. Blue on blue action. We're going to see it today, very soon.
Mickey said it. The players of Team Liquid like it when the stakes are high. And the stakes are definitely very high for this best of three. You're watching the survival stage here for Dota 2 at the Esports World Cup, and one of these two teams will be eliminated after this one. It's Team Liquid or Extreme Gaming. It's 1-1, and if the first two games are anything to go off, we are having a great game 3 coming our way, but a lot will be decided in the draft already. Quick question, actually, Seb. Have you noticed an advantage that the teams get from being at the first pick or second pick? I feel like it's somewhat even, but maybe you think differently.
No, I think it depends on team heroes, like rating and priority. I would say that I still favor first pick a little bit, in a sense. Like, I think some of these heroes are must bans, and when it's the case, like every time it's been like that, then first pick is strong. You know, I'm thinking, yeah, when you're second pick, you have to ban Treant, you have to ban Lone Druid for most teams, you have to ban SF perhaps. There's a lot of keepers, like you're gonna play versus Clock, or they can decide whether they want the Clock or if they want, you know, you name it, like first pick or Spirit or whatever they fancy. Like, I feel like first pick is very strong. When you have first pick, you also have 18 pick, which is also a very strong pick. We've seen, like, it's hard to deal with because often on 18 you see both supports, so you have very deadly like mid laner picks. And I don't think we've seen as much value on 24. Like,
yeah, we've seen a couple of games, I would say, where PL, where like you just PL and you're like, okay, I think Liquid experienced that against Aurora, and there wasn't really much they could have done about it because the draft wasn't really made to deal with PL. But other than that, I do have to agree with the first pick overall, and I want to see, you know, how XG is going to be approaching this issue, because this is the team that historically, under different banner, like this team during LGD time as well, under different coach as well, Zhao 8, he has been known to, you know, cook completely different draft. We are seeing a bit of a, maybe not the same type of a drafting with maps at the moment, because they are picking some of the same heroes as well. But coming into this third game, a lot of the times these teams, they would fall back to some like really old school type of heroes, like maybe just late game TBs, Faceless Voids, these type of heroes. And Shiver, I heard you laughing about something.
I saw Seb's face.
Yeah.
You saw the draft.
Listen. I have to say, like, at some points, I'm gonna have to take my words back, because if these teams think Mira, like, because if we're sitting here thinking it's a bad hero and they think it's that good that they should first pick it, well, then they are right and we're wrong about it. So at this point, I'm just open-minded to be proven otherwise. Maybe it is very good, and maybe to be fair, we've seen it mostly on 4. so far.
Yes.
And
Who is the odd one out, so to say.
right, and he's had wins mostly with Mirana 5. So maybe
Mirana 5 definitely feels much stronger because a lot of the times from position 4 you also want to be getting something else, something a little bit more maneuverable, something with a little bit more scaling damage. Even though she scaled insanely well in the previous game, she was the second highest damage dealing hero on the team, having this Conjurer's Catalyst, Divine Regalia, Divine Rapier at the time, and like the vision game is pretty strong with this hero, like having a low cooldown, short cooldown on that ulti in terms of, especially with Octarine Core providing vision for the team, triple arrow on top of that, pairing him up with the Clockwork on top of it, with the Aghanim Scepter with all of these rockets, cancelling the Blink Daggers and providing vision of the area, makes the team fights in the late game very difficult to approach.
Yeah, we got a bit of a different opening, of course, with the Mirana and the Hoodwink there as well. We also have Extreme Gaming with first pick, and so far in this series, it's actually been the team that has second pick that comes out on top. So maybe there's a bit of a different dynamic with these two teams.
Yeah,
the Necro and the Alk being banned out, a bit of respect from previous game. Don't want to deal with that anymore.
I mean, they just dealt with it for 90 minutes straight. I don't blame them. It's like, I need a break at this point. I can't get Reapered anymore. Ember Spirit comes out pretty early for Liquid. They had the possibility to do so earlier. I mean, one reasoning could be that the Necro's out, so that's like one of the toughest meta matchups we've seen for Ember. That will not be a possibility for Extreme. So we'll see what they want to counter this Ember with. Knowing that Hoodwink already is kind of weak against Ember, so they need the mid hero and the position 5 most likely to fill that void.
Ooh, a Largo joins.
This could be the mid. This could be mid Largo.
I think it's a really good matchup against Ember. Actually, I'm quite surprised we don't see it more personally. I think it could also be support, but I think very few teams are running this hero on support. It's only like a pub thing.
This doesn't strike me as XXS hero. I'm sure he can play it, but during the last Blast Slam, he didn't play it. He didn't. Last Blast Slam, he didn't play it. He didn't play it so far at EWC, and we've seen them utilize Largo from the mid lane against Lina. Or was it the other way around?
Where did I see it?
No, it was their game where they played Lina and they were playing against Largo, and that Largo almost solo killed Lina twice. So maybe they think this matchup against potentially melee mid laners is going to be much better.
Yeah.
And also seeing that there is no Doom, maybe utilizing that part, seeing that you're not going to be... Because Largo teams are very, very good. I think Aurora is the best Largo team that we see. They play it from the off lane, but also some teams ran it from the mid lane, and okay, so that's going to shift priority.
Yeah, it was the matchup in the first game. Turned out pretty well. For nothing to say, he had a really good lane, really good performance. He did get a lot of help from his supports, to be fair.
They figured out also what NTS stands for in that first game. Nicely timed slams. He was definitely on point with them.
He really was. I think it was an impressive... Honestly, he's played 2 incredible games so far. Going back to his classic, I mean, at the end of the day, he was in TI finals, in a TI where the meta was very much about Shaker and Sand King mid, so just going back to the old, like, what worked for you. Yep. Don't divert too much. Create the meta. Will it be enough though? Hoodwink Shaker against Ember +1. I think Nisha is going to learn from the first game. Definitely the kind of player to adapt very well to what's presented to him. So I'm sure Liquid is going to reassess what didn't work as well in the early game of game one and try to balance the matchup better.
Ooh.
Okay. This is very similar to the draft they had against Aurora, where they had a really rough start, but they were able to win the game nonetheless. I think they had Tiny, Mirana, and Earthspirit. Maybe this is
They
like
had
a
all
strategy
four.
at this point.
Yes.
They had Ember too?
Yes.
They had all four. Okay, wow. It's a really good Largo then, though I have to say, I think the repositioning from the Lick is amazing versus Chainstone, and there's lots of spells to dispel, like Earth Spirit, Ember Spirit, Vessel Buyers.
Are we surprised? I mean, I know Centaur was on the losing side of both games we've watched so far, but it's ignored so far. I thought it was still a very strong hero.
Yeah, this is probably going to be the hero that Liquid is going to be looking for. Horses in their logo. This is a horse, so it makes quite a lot of sense. It's also a bit of a say, like we've seen different builds now in Centaur. We saw like Ace completely dominating with the double heart. We saw Pipe approach in the previous one. So it feels like the hero still feels like super strong in this current meta. I also want to see how they're going to be approaching this, because Largo is not a traditional like pipe buyer. Like we are seeing offlaners prioritizing the item from the offlane, so thinking that there's quite a lot of magic damage. Pretty much all the damage that they have early on is going to be magical on Team Liquid, and a lot of damage on side of Extreme Gaming as well.
I would like to see Ame Zero here. I think that's how you get the value from that pick, like the closing pick into a banning phase. I wonder what he's looking at. Well, he's gonna lane versus an Earth Spirit, so most likely a weak lane and a pull wave approach from Liquid. So he's very free to pick whatever he wants, like in terms of like carry matchup maybe, thinking of how he wants to counter Tiny. We've seen some Naxes. Okay, he goes for the Draw Ranger. Classic pick at this point. Pretty good matchup versus Tiny. When you stop dying to him, the combo, the games become pretty much unplayable for Tiny, like, because it's really hard to tank up against the draw and just hard to disengage. Very late game oriented lineup, like Shaker draw, like the skating is going to be crazy on Extreme side.
Yeah, I feel like if this game goes late, then there's no doubt who comes out on top. That's a little scary for Team Liquid, especially thinking about how the other two games went.
Yeah.
Can they go for an offlaner that would really set a tempo high, that they could end earlier and focus really on not going lane?
I don't think so. With Earth Spirit in the lane, this is not a strong lane, especially if you remove Darkshire, and they are going to do it. So
they're probably going to get banned.
Most likely. I feel like Earth Spirit is one of the weaker position fours that we are seeing right now. Boxy, in an interview after they won that game, he talked about how the team let him farm for a good 10 minutes up until a point where he got a BKB, he got a nullifier as well, making sure that they let him play the game, because this year, like, it from position, like, even once you're playing the position 4 Earth Spirit, it still feels like you are getting quite a lot of farm on the hero, because you're using 2 spells to push out the waves. You can go for an extra wave, try to put maybe extra bit of a pressure, and go for some kind of a vision play where they are revealing heroes, and then you're getting out of trouble.
It's really funny how Clock is just ignored all of a sudden. Like it was first picked, and now both teams don't want to have anything to do with it.
You don't think Extreme might still want it? They're looking for a 5 first Nova.
Yeah, it's a possibility. I was trying to think what are the 5s available. Definitely a possibility. I don't think it's that bad. I think it's pretty good, if anything. Like Shaker is gonna love somebody creating situations for him, like starting the fight and giving him a little bit more freedom to pick his jump. The Lycan ban is pretty good. Like we actually didn't mention this hero, but one of the classic counters to draw. So that means Centaur is through the pool. I'm not sure if it necessarily fits Liquid's lineup. I feel like they could use a little bit more damage, because they already have like a lot of control.
Yeah, I'm just for position 5 from Extreme or Liquid.
Position 5 for Extreme.
I was looking at his most played heroes. We've seen a good amount of disruptors getting picked. Either that, maybe some like Lich if they feel like they need the follow-up damage. Okay, so it is going to be Largo support.
It is a Largo 5. Okay, interesting. Or 4 for that matter. We're not sure yet, but I would say most likely 5. Like it's laning versus Earth Spirit, so pretty chill. Also acts like a front line for the draw on the lane. Interesting.
That's why they left Centaur in the pool. They didn't ban it out. They banned Lycan, which is still a very good ban, but also seeing the lineup that they had against Aurora, it would be the exact same lineup that they ran. So
Hoodwink Centaur lane, very solid, very strong, a lot of damage. Like level 2 power spike is pretty crazy. Mirana would die from full HP actually. So Tofu's gonna have to play his hand.
Does it change your opinion on the laning composition that Drow Largo is still going to beat whatever Earth Spirit is going to be mixed up with?
I think so. Unless there's like a niche pick that
What about some?
we're
I'm
not
just
thinking
thinking
about.
some enigma potentially that could come out just to match the team fight that they have, and also to pull the lane back because Earth Spirit +1 melee, they can't really lane that well against, because this is a super strong lane, like you're just gonna get clicked. And we've seen teams approach in similar fashion where they can't really like lane, so they go back to some creep cutting, lichens. We've seen a good amount of enigma as well from the off lane.
It's pretty solid. I think it lanes really well with Earth Spirit. I don't know if the lane is that easy against Draw Largo. I see angles for both to win the lane, but definitely Eidolons are gonna die to these heroes eventually. But fits their lineup, fits the scaling also. I guess it will give them a win condition. They go for the Timber Saw. It's a really good Timber game, to be fair. Like, besides the draw, like if think of the draw getting jumped also, or having to reposition, then the Timber is gonna reign supreme in team fights. I just think the lane is not the easiest for Timber against draw. It's not the easiest matchup, but you know, if they manipulate the creep waves well enough and Ace gets an early level 3, he could definitely run away with a very solid laning phase.
It's 4 melee heroes against Centaur, Drow, Earthshaker, and these are all 3 cores pretty much, so not going to be as easy. Frog Stomp, I think you're going to be getting quite a lot of value. Hoodwink, Break Mechanic, going to be good against Timber to try to burst him down. Liquid, it looks like quite a lot of damage. They don't have much tower damage other than Tiny, which is going to come online relatively quickly, but Timbersaw and Ember, you can't really make any kind of tower plays, especially early on. So usually high ground is going to be solely through Mickey if it comes to that point, but I think I'm going to give slight edge again to Extreme Gaming.
I like the Timber in the sense that it's kind of a counter to Largo because the burst damage is so intense that this like long fights doesn't really work anymore, and there's like so many stuns on Liquid side that whoever tanks an arrow or an avalanche with like Ember Timber, they will just explode. So I think Liquid is like, well, it's a very enabling, Mirana enabling draft. Like Moonlight Shadow is going to be very scary to play against when you play versus Tiny Timber, because like all it takes is half a second and you just die. And in that sense, playing the map versus Earthspit Mirana is not going to be fun for Extreme. So it's going to come down to execution on their side. If they can have a solid start to the game and group up before Liquid's heroes, get their items. Because I think once Tiny and Timber get online, once they get hard to kill and they have enough damage to like burst heroes down, it's pretty tough to play for Extreme, in my opinion.
Is this game going to last as long as the other two?
Well, that is an impossible question to answer. For the players' sake, I hope not. And for ours, well, I hope yes. But we'll have to see.
Yeah, we're going to grab some popcorns, get hydrated, because it seems like with the game number 1 and game number 2, we're also going to be having a long game number 3.
I'm looking forward to it, and we're going to have a blast, especially with the voices of Cap and SPG.
Too kind, Shiver, that's right. We're here for Game 3 of Extreme Gaming, and Liquid, the series has been a full banger so far, and all we hope is we get a suiting climax here in Game 3. But the drafts have changed, Avery. Has the momentum, has the tempo of the game changed? Are we going to see a 60, 80, 90-minute fest, or is this just going to be some good old-fashioned early to 20 to 30-minute brawl? Because that's what it looks like to me.
There's a lot of brawling in this game. Could be another sloppy one. I think the series, if you ask both teams, have we played clean Dota, they'd probably say no. It's been a messy series overall.
And it's going to start real messy with Mickey's blood all over the ground. He is bidding it.
Who do you give it to?
First one, and that is to Ame.
I think there's an argument you give it to Centaur there, or like faster Helm. Because then you can accelerate the game.
Hey,
but if Ame wants it, he's going to take it. You can't refuse him.
Nothing to say he wasn't there for the kill, which obviously mid laners usually won, and yet he still found something. He found Boxy's courier, which I didn't see.
An early sacrifice to the blood gods.
I guess so. There was already enough blood on the deck, but apparently they needed just a little bit more.
Boxy's courier has a rough life. He'd throw him to the wolves. This could be a very bloody game. This is a lineup from Liquid that we saw them play.
Ooh, Tofu with the Quelling Blade. Not to be caught unawares.
We saw them play this exact type of lineup the other day with the Tiny Earth Spirit Mirana Ember combination. It was a different off laner for Ace, but functions it's going to be the exact same here. That is a huge amount of chain stun, huge amount of pick-off potential, big threat across the map very quickly with the mobility here. Could be difficult to shove the waves out. That was the biggest issue in the game. You just couldn't get the lanes in as Ame's going to take an arrow to the knee, but he will still get through the gate here. So that's the concern for XG. Like, how do you play the map? How do you not feed bad kills and then just have that momentum build really quickly? Lanes don't really matter for this kind of draft for Liquid. They just need levels. They just need to get to the part of the game where they can start rolling on people. Tiny can enter the game. If you get Blink Dagger on Tiny, you get Shadow Blade on Tiny, you get a Vessel on Ember, you just run into people. This game can snowball really quickly. So if you're XG, you need to get as much out of the laning phase as you can, slow this lineup down as much as possible, and get the lanes in safely. I think this is a game you definitely want Helmet Dominator on Centaur just for the lane pressure, so you don't have to show. And you want to get really fat on this Drow so you can start to have a presence in this game outside of just being a meat body to get rolled on. Because there's a lot of heroes that just roll in from this Liquid squad.
Yeah, you say lanes won't matter as much for Liquid. It's a good thing, too, because aren't they set up to lose all 3 lanes, potentially? Not by like a massive amount, but I feel like every single one has an edge for Extreme.
For sure. It's a pull lane top with the double melee against the Drow. The Shaker's going to win mid against the Ember. NTS had a nice time in that in game 1. And the Centaur should do completely fine down here against the Mirana support. So I do expect XG to have a better time here in the first 10 minutes. But again, I don't think this Liquid draft really cares too much. They just want to get levels. If anything, I think they'd be happy trading some net worth to win the Wisdom Shrine exchange. Just pump these heroes up. They can play through Ember. This draft will look great. And we saw what the Nisha Ember can do.
This is annoying, man. Quelling Blade plus Tree Throw for Mickey. A Quelling Blade on the Mirana. Like, they're just going to cover each other. Unless you get both in a Bushwhack. The Bushwhack's never going to last for long.
Start with Centaur Stun, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
It's another option. I like seeing the Shaker come back. I think NTS performed on it pretty well in that game 1. And it was a solid answer to the Ember. He had a good time with it. And they didn't end up winning that game, so I guess you could say, you know, why fix what's not broken here?
I would say Nisha had, it was rough for him in that Ember Spirit game. He started off in a position where he's losing lane against the